Hey guys, welcome to the Designisme Academy for Sewing and Design. I am your instructor, Des. You guys could just call me Des. And today we are going to be reviewing the Singer, not my microwave going off mid-video. Today we're going to be reviewing the Singer Heavy Duty 4423 sewing machine. And I must say, I was really blown away by this sewing machine. In my opinion, this machine is the closest machine to the industrial sewing machine. You already know, or maybe you guys do not know, I have the Brother industrial sewing machine. So I feel like if you guys have any intention of purchasing an industrial sewing machine at any point, then this is a very great place to start. I already opened this box. I already created a full project using this machine, and I'm really blown away. I figured if I didn't like the machine, there was no point doing a review. So I feel like I just had to open it up and play around with it before I even filmed it. So the fact that I'm filming this video, you already know that I loved it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's review. All right, so first things first, let me put you guys on to where I purchased this sewing machine from. If you guys cannot tell by my accent already, I am located in Trinidad. The retailer that I purchased this machine from is Radica Trading. Now, I don't know what it is about local vendors and local retailers, but whenever a vendor has like a really competitively priced item, they always like slap the price directly on the product so that you know it's like the best price. I would say Radica Trading does have this machine at the best price. Everywhere else that I would have checked has it for over $2,300. So if you can find yourself at one of the Radica Trading outlets, definitely go get it. I got mine from the location in the McCoy Industrial Estate. Definitely go and let them know that the Designisme Academy sent you. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up. Let's see. Oh, it's giving heavy. If only I could get it out. Oh, it's heavy. So I took out everything from my box. Let's go through everything one by one to make sure that we have everything that the box is supposed to have. So here I have the pedal foot and the plug. This is a 2-in-1 cord. So we have our pedal foot. I call this the gas. So usually when I talk to the students and I say, okay, get ready to step on the gas, it simply means get ready to press your pedal foot so that you can start sewing. This is obviously the plug, and this goes into the wall so that we can power the sewing machine. So I plug this in. I'm going to hit the switch at the side here. And what that does is it turns the machine on. You're going to notice that a light just came on, and that basically tells you that the machine is on, okay? If I were to step on our gas, you would notice that the machine needle is going to start going up and down. So I'm just going to give it a light. All right. Good. So now I'm just going to check to make sure that I have all of my accessories in this pack. Every single machine comes with a pack filled with accessories. So here we have our little screwdriver, and this is used to access various parts of the sewing machine, such as where our needle is connected. If we need to change our needle, which we will be doing shortly, you would use your screwdriver in order to remove the needle and then to put a new needle in. This particular foot is for buttonholes. This is just an extension for our thread. Here we have our seam ripper. So it doesn't look like much of a seam ripper right now. It literally just looks like a little brush here. This brush, this part of the seam ripper is what we would use to do some, just basic cleaning and maintenance of the machine to get rid of dust. But if we were to open this up, it is actually a seam ripper. I always tell my students that your seam ripper is your best friend, especially when you are now learning how to sew. So get familiar with this. Like I mentioned before, I did open this machine before. So this is just some extra sewing needles. There are three extra sewing needles that come in this pack. I already used one, so I have two more remaining. Here we have some extra bobbins. And as you guys know, your bobbin is the thread that goes to the base of your machine. Your machine cannot work without your bobbin. This is another foot. This is a zipper foot. This is another foot as well. And then we have some additional miscellaneous things. And I guess as we film more videos and as we explore this particular machine, we are going to figure out together what these things are for. So I think this is almost like a screwdriver as well. This is a fabric washer. And this is, I'm not exactly sure, but we're going to figure it out together. So we are going to thread our machine because I actually forgot. So I mentioned already that I did open this machine already. So there's this part that also comes in your accessory case. And this is just the stopper for this part where your thread goes. So it was actually already on the machine. When you open yours, it's not going to be on your machine. It's going to be in the pack with all the other accessories. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me show you all how to thread your sewing machine. First things first, let's do a general walkthrough of how to read your sewing machine. Here we have our thread stand. This is where our thread will go. And this is our stopper. Here we have our adjuster for the width. When you are stitching with a straight stitch, this is going to need to be on 0 because this is the straightest your stitch is going to be. When you change your stitch from straight to zigzag, you are going to adjust your stitch width. Here we have the adjuster for our needle placement. So right now our needle is in the middle. If we were to turn it this way, the needle is going to be placed to the far right. And if we were to turn it this way, our needle is now placed to the far left. Keeping it in the middle is always ideal. Here we have the adjuster for our tension. And of course, the tension is subjective. This is something that you're going to play around with. If you are adjusting or you're changing or you're experimenting with different stitches, you are going to need to play around with the tension based on what your fabric or what your stitches are telling you. So number 4 is ideal for the regular straight stitch and even the zigzag. You can keep it on 4. But of course, when you start playing around with these, if you find like your stitches are a little bit loose on the top or the bottom, then you could play around with the tension in order to correct your stitches. So definitely subscribe to the channel. We're going to get into how to adjust your tension for various stitches in the next video. Here we have our reverse button. This reverse button is also what we call our back stitch button. So long as you are pressing this button, your machine is going to stitch in reverse. When you release the button, it's going to continue stitching forward so long as you are pressing on the gas. Here we have our stitch length. Number 2 is the most appropriate stitch length for just general straight stitches and general other stitches as well. When you increase this number, you make your stitch length longer. So for example, when we are doing a gathered stitch, or a basting stitch, we want our stitch length to be on the longest stitch so that we can pull easier and gather the stitch easier. But when we are stitching regular stitches, the most appropriate stitch length is between 2 and 3. All right. Of course, between 0 and 1, this is specific to the buttonhole stitch. And as you can see, the buttonhole symbol is corresponding with the buttonhole symbol as well. If you look at this wheel, you're going to see black symbols as well as blue symbols. The blue symbols correspond with S1. You're going to see S1. So when you turn this on S1, it's going to correspond with the blue stitches. When you turn it back to your regular stitch length on the black, of course, it's going to correspond with your black stitches. So let's go ahead and get started with threading our machine. Down here, we have our bobbin. And if you were to just push this black button there with the arrow facing that way, it's going to release the case or the cover that protects your bobbin. So I'm just going to take my bobbin out. This is how your bobbin looks. And I would have mentioned to you guys before that your machine is going to come with 2 or 3 extra bobbins in addition to the bobbin that's in the machine. So let's have a look at the top of our machine. We have our width, we have our needle position, we have our tension, we have the placement for our thread, and then we have all of these wonderful instructions that tell us how to thread our machine. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we are going to grab that empty bobbin and we are going to fill our bobbin before threading the top of the machine. And the very first thing we're going to do is we are going to decipher which symbols correspond with the top thread and which symbols correspond with our bobbin thread. The symbols that correspond with the bobbin thread are obviously the dotted lines, because this is our bobbin, this is our ending point here. We have our dotted line here, and every other symbol are straight lines, okay? Meaning continuous lines that's not dotted. If you do not have this machine and you're using another machine, then your symbols might be different. They might be a different color. Maybe one might be purple, one might be black. So for example, the Singer 5560 digital sewing machine, some of the symbols are black and some of the symbols are purple. So just read your machine and thread accordingly, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna thread our bobbin. Right now, this one is telling us to grab the thread, gonna put it around like this. It's gonna wrap around like this. When we get to the bobbin, so this is how the bobbin is. It has a hole here, okay? And it's telling us to thread through the hole like so. All right? We're gonna pop it on like so, and then we're gonna press it like so. I'm gonna give it some gas. When the bobbin has a good bit of thread, you can clip the end of this and then continue threading. What is going to happen is the machine or the bobbin is going to stop automatically when the bobbin is completely filled. So let's keep filling until it stops on its own. So once it's filled, we're going to take this out. We're going to clip. And now we're going to thread the top of our machine. So the first thing I'm going to do is open this back. We are going to put our bobbin into the machine. And now we are going to thread the top of our machine. So now we are following the symbols with our connected straight lines. So we are not following the dotted lines anymore. We are only following our straight lines. So this tells us it needs to go behind here. So that is number 1. Number 2 says it needs to go behind here. Number 3 says that it needs to go down here. Number 4 says it needs to go around here. Number 5 says it needs to go behind here and back down. Number 6 says it needs to go behind here. Number 7, well, it doesn't have a number 7, but if you look right under our needles there is a hook. Of course, the end of the thread is going to go through the needle. This needle threads front to back, Unlike our industrial machine that threads left to right. Once we have our thread in, we're going to use the lever to the back to lift. We're going to put the thread under our presser foot, and we are going to use the wheel to the right side of the machine. We're going to send our needle down, and we're going to pick up our bobbin thread. Once we have the bobbin thread picked up, we are going to close, and now we can begin sewing. So here we have 4 different fabrics, and we are going to test out how the machine stitches on each fabric. So we have our wool, denim, cotton, and we have our knit. So we're going to start with our cotton, then we're going to move on to our denim, then we're going to move on to our wool, and then we're going to do our knit last, because that would require us to change our stitch type from straight to zigzag. So let's go ahead and start with our cotton. Lifting my presser foot, putting it down. The length is on 2. The width is between 3 and 2. My needle is in the middle, and my tension is on 4. So I'm going to start stitching. I'm going to reverse. So I'm just demonstrating. So long as you're holding this down, it's going to stitch in reverse, right? So far, so good. I feel like the stitch length could be a little bit longer. So I'm just going to adjust this. I'm going to put it between 3 and 2. And I forgot to mention, guys, there's actually a self-cutter right here. So if you don't have a scissors, you can literally just cut it off right there. Okay, so far so good. I love how the machine is stitching. It's super smooth. And it stitched the cotton really, really well. Of course, the denim is a lot thicker. And I'm going to further challenge the machine by doubling my denim. Okay. Let's go. So far, so good. So far, so good. Great. So now I'm going to move on to testing my wool. And same thing, I'm going to further challenge my machine by doubling my wool. Let's go. Wonderful. Oh, wow. Oh, this knit isn't the stretchiest knit. This knit only stretches in one direction. So I'm actually going to test out how it's going to stitch with the straight, if we're going to get any skip stitches or if it's going to be fine. So let's go. Okay, it seems fine for now. All right. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. I am going to change from straight to zigzag. And I'm going to stitch on the knit again. Let's go. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, guys, so there you have it. Our machine is threaded to perfection. We tested out stitches on our cotton. We tested out stitches on our denim. We tested out stitches on our wool. And we tested out stitches on our knit. All right, guys, so that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It is the very first review. I hope that this video made it super, super easy for you guys to set up and get started using your very own Singer Heavy Duty 4423 sewing machine. Make sure to subscribe, like, leave us any comments and suggestions that you have for future videos and for things that you guys want us to create. Guys, it's the holiday season. We have so many fun projects coming up, so do not forget to subscribe. And of course, I will see you guys in the next video. Happy sewing!